This episode of Steve's Outdoor Adventures is sponsored by the Far Wide app, outdoor intelligence in the palm of your hand. Over the years, we've come here to Alaska and filmed a number of episodes where we've hunted for moose, brown and grizzly bear, caribou, and even black bear. And that's what brings us back to Alaska this week. It's early May, spring black bear season is just getting started, and the bears are just popping out of their dens. I can hardly wait to share this exciting footage with you. I'm all fired up, man. It's May, the rain has fallen, and Alaska is calling. Getting to Homer, Alaska is rarely done in a single day. And on this trip, we checked in for a short 45-minute flight from Pasco to Seattle, Washington, before touching down in Northwest Washington and boarding our flight from Seattle to Anchorage. Last leg of our glorious journey here, Seattle to Anchorage. Anchorage, on the ground in Alaska. Let's do this. Once we touched down in Anchorage, we grabbed our bags, jumped in a cab, and we headed to the hotel. And along the way, I could see the incredible amounts of snow that were still in the mountains around Anchorage. And within 5 minutes of leaving the airport, we were at my home away from home at the Lakefront Hotel. Home sweet home. All right, long day of travel yesterday. We got to Anchorage. Now we just got one short flight from Anchorage over to Homer. Then we're on the boat the rest of the day getting out to the hunting area. Pick up a black bear tag. Got my license. Once we were at the docks, we packed all of our gear down to the boat. This harbor is legendary and full of boats that you can recognize from Deadliest Catch, as well as an assortment of fishing vessels and pleasure craft. And as we headed away from the docks and into open water, I felt relieved to be away from civilization. No phone service, no internet, and none of the stress of everyday life. We were just a couple of guys headed out on a bear hunt. And within 2 hours, we were pulling up in front of the cabin that I would hunt out of for the week. Home sweet home. And after getting settled in and unpacked, we sat down in front of the wood stove and started glassing right out the front window. I remember we saw a big bear on one of the hills back here where the goat hunters were at. Did you see you guys cut trails going in? That's handy, huh?
They're marked down.
With such an incredible landscape in front of us and miles of beach to look at, I knew that it would be just a matter of time before we started seeing bears. This episode of Steve's Outdoor Adventures has been sponsored by Burris Optics and the new Eliminator 6. Steve's Outdoor Adventures is sponsored by Bergara Rifles, featuring the new Cure Carbon barrels and a sub-MOA guarantee. All right, We decided we'd come over here on a piece of beach where we're not going to do any hunting. But I've got a target set up out there about 100 and so yards away. Just want to check my zero, owe it to the animals, owe it to myself. You know, to make sure that my gun's on. I had 2 commercial flights, a boat ride. My gun got banged around a little bit, I know it. You know, you just want to make sure before you go in the field. On this hunt, I decided to use the Bergara Premier Series MG Light Rifle chambered in .300 Winchester Magnum. These guns have the incredible pure carbon barrel, and I'm using 180 grain bullets, hand-loaded by the crew at Pendleton Ammunition. The rifle has the Burris Eliminator 5 scope on it and the GPM Adventure Hunter suppressor. This is an incredibly accurate rifle that is made to take the beating that Alaska serves up. And for this hunt, it was the perfect combination of rifle, scope, suppressor, and ammo. Yeah, we're good. Right where I left it. This segment of Checking Zero is sponsored by the Adventure Armory. Rifle packages made for hunters. Order yours today. These bears are coming out of their dens as this snow melts. I mean, we got a nice drizzle of rain, and as that melts snow, moisture gets in the dens, the bears really start popping out. And it's been a pretty snowy spring this year, so definitely colder and snowier than I've ever remembered it. We got a great bay here by the cabin. These bears are gonna come out of their dens, and I see a bear right now. I just was glassing him, feeding in the brown grass, surrounded by alders. And he's probably just popped out of his den last couple of days. Hopefully he makes his way down into these bays by the cabin. This is the perfect place to hunt from because you've got 2 miles of beach in front of you, maybe more. It's all protected water in here for the most part. You've got a mile of beach behind you that's protected. No matter what direction the wind blows, you've got a place to go hunting, and it's all fantastic bear habitat. Park a skiff over here in the little harbor, so to speak, this protected bay on the other side of this. And you can use a boat to get across, you can walk around. If the weather's too bad to run a boat, no matter what, you can get out on foot. There's hillsides here that we just saw bears on. This cabin's a perfect location to hunt from. It's a great base of operations. I head out for tonight's hunt. Paul's down waiting for me by the boat. Starting to lift up a little bit, but it's awful frosty in here. We had switched out the big boat for the skiff, which is ideal for accessing shorelines and shallow water, and headed out for the primetime evening hours. And it wasn't long before we spotted our first bear. We just pulled into this bay. There's a bear right over here on the beach. He's eating kelp. These bears are popping out all over this time of year. We're gonna move out here around the point where we're a little hidden. We'll put a stalk on and get close. I wanna get as close as I can before we decide how big he is. The closer you can get, the easier it is to judge him. Stuck down the beach here. It's just a small sow. Something kind of alerted her, I don't know what. She moved back into the heavy cover. Might be another bigger bear here. We're gonna watch this area real close. She acted like there was something in here that spooked her. Not us, we were 115 yards away. After passing on the small sow and no other bears showed up, we jumped back in the skiff and we headed to the back of the bay where we could glass more shoreline. And along the way, we spotted another bear. This episode of Steve's Outdoor Adventures has been sponsored by Pendleton Ammunition. Premium hunting ammo, hand-loaded, 1 round at a time. Yeah, drop me off here. There's a bear up here on the hillside we're going to take a long hike for. There's been several bears on this hillside. We just dropped a layer because we've got to climb through some of this tree line. It's not very far. I can see a bear up there, just about 400 or 500 yards above us. The bear, our target bear right now, is right here, low on the hill. He's not that far. This is actually a pretty easy hunt if he stays where he's at. We're hiking blind until we get there. Let's push on. The bear's just right there. We're gonna cut right through here. We're going right at him. Right at him. Wind will help mask our sound. That was one of those bears that you just had to get closer and closer to field judge, and he was built right, but once I saw those big ears, and he just wasn't quite as big as I thought he was initially, and the hunting's heating up, the bear action's getting good. If the wind had just laid down so we can cruise some beaches, I think we'll be in business. Across the bay over here, about 2,000 yards away, there's a bear feeding. He's too far away to tell what he is. We got to get closer. Get a better look at him. Got to do a river crossing here. I'd already be underwater in a kayak. Damn. The wind is bad. Our wind is kind of blowing like, probably swirling around in the bay. I can't see him now. Yeah, I can. Damn. I'm gonna move up here a little bit, set up and watch for a little longer. See if he comes back out. He's been out for quite a while. There's a bear in the back of the bay over here. He just came out, like just minutes ago. He's against the tree right here. It's doable. The sun set on an awesome day of bear hunting, and while we didn't see anything big enough to shoot, we had a lot of action. and more bears were popping out of their dens every day, and I knew it was just a matter of time before we found a big boar on the shoreline. This segment of Steve's Outdoor Adventures is sponsored by Peterson Cartridge Company, extremely consistent, American-made brass rifle casings. If you would like to book this hunt or any other hunting or fishing adventure, give our office a call. We will gladly take your calls, answer your questions, and help you book the adventure of a lifetime. The next day, the weather was calm, and the conditions were ideal to cruise and glass for bears, and we immediately started spotting them on the hillsides. While we could see the bears, they were just not in good spots to make a stalk, much less get a shot. But I knew that just before dark, in the final hours of daylight, we would find them on the shorelines. And sure enough, my patience paid off.
Bear up here on the beach. Waiting for him to come down, feed on the shores. But he's there. He's going to be slightly out of sight when we're there. We're going to have to make the corner. Got a bear about 300 yards up. That chamber went up.
Once we were on shore, we couldn't see the bear. I couldn't see if he was still there. I couldn't see which direction he was facing. We were flying blind, and we needed to cover the distance down that rocky shoreline and get there fast and get eyes on this bear before he headed back into cover. When I got to the spot where I wanted to take the shot, I took off my bino harness and used it as a rest on top of the rock. At this point, the bear was well inside 100 yards, unaware of our presence, and all I had to do was wait for the perfect shot.
All right, right there, ready? Hit him pretty hard. We hit him good. Paul was out in the boat. Here he comes. Disappeared around the rocks before I get a second shot. We hit him real hard. I couldn't tell where he went in. Should just be right here somewhere. I need to watch the footage. I need to see where he went in. So we got blood all right here. You see it all over the grass. Lots of blood. He's on that trail there. I want to stay down low so I can see a lot of this. Yes. There he is right there. He can go 40 or 50 yards maybe. Oh yeah. Check it out. Alaska black bear. He came around that and rolled down. Yeah, he's done. It's been an incredible hunt here in Alaska. Weather's a month late. It feels like April 10th, not May 10th. There's a lot of snow up high, not a lot of feed out yet, but the bears are popping out of their dens because of the rain, melting snow that's going in the dens. They're just popping out. You look at this bear, he's got perfect hair, perfect. Even got his guard hairs in between his toes and on the bottom of his pad still. I mean, he's pristine in terms of hair quality. He's probably only been out of the den a day or two, and that just makes for an incredible trophy. There's probably going to be about 100 pounds of wild game meat. Makes a phenomenal sausage and some backstrap steaks. I just feel so fortunate that tonight this bear came down and stuck around eating sea kelp long enough for us to get in the skiff, come across the bay, make a stalk through the boulder patch, and get set up for a perfect shot. Just an amazing adventure, and I can't recommend it enough to all of our clients and viewers.
As I floated the bear across the pond and then down the stream and out to the boat, I reflected on how this was the perfect way to end this hunt. And I can hardly wait to return again for another spring bear hunt in coastal Alaska. In fact, if this is a hunt that you'd like to book for yourself, give our office a call. We're always available to take your calls, answer your questions, and help you book the hunting or fishing adventure of a lifetime. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for this week's show. But please remember to join us again next week when we bring you another exciting episode of Steve's Outdoor Adventures. If you enjoyed this episode, please click like and subscribe to see more of Steve's Outdoor Adventures right here on YouTube.